Bullfighting is very popular in Spain.
So it's a deep tradition, but the world moves on. I think the priority in Spanish schools,
They are very easily offended, actually.
but Valenciano, that is a different kettle of fish. So when Valenciano was prioritized over Castellano, people meeting up with friends or family, and they have a few drinks and they have some food, some go and sleep, some have a bit of fun in bed, if I can say that.
So sex at lunchtime is a good thing.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I have to edit this out. They're
You
gonna
have to
kill
edit.
me for this. Yeah. Everyone in Spain is very bad at English. I think you can start. We need to look back at some things in history and say that we got this wrong.
Yeah.
And we need to move on. We are in 2026. The Spanish siesta, everyone just goes home and sleep, and the Spanish siesta is still something that's here. I will say no. The Spanish siesta, in my opinion, is going more and more away. It doesn't exist that much anymore. And of course, it's different because it probably is a little bit different in the summertime because it's so hot. People need to go home. They need to maybe go to sleep, or they need to go rest, or they use the siesta to go out and spend time with their friends and family, going out for lunch and stuff like that. But it's getting, especially in the south where we are, I think it's getting less and less because it's maybe not the best for tourism and stuff like that. I understand. I saw that I had a lot of comments on another video about this, and like, okay, we have to do this in my area. We have to do this. You can't generalize about Spain. They are very, very strict about that, and of course we can't because Spain is very diverse. But it's getting, especially on the coast, I feel like we are moving away from it.
No, I disagree.
Yes, finally we disagree. Finally we disagree on something. You feel like it's getting more and more siesta? More and more?
No, not more siesta. I think there's always going to be a big portion of Spanish that will have siesta.
Yeah.
But of course, there are industries when you're in a tourism area where they have to skip it or reduce the amount of time or whatever. But I think it's very, very ingrained. I don't think siesta is going to go away, even here with all the foreigners. There are still so many people, that is...
Do you think it's because of the history or because of the heat or because of the culture?
Well, you have the... I understand in the summer here, if you're a builder, you're doing gardening or tiling outside or, it's too hot, And I think that's why siesta I don't know. Probably that's why siesta started in the first place, because you just can't do a physical job outside in 40, 45 degrees.
And everyone was doing physical jobs outside. There was no computers. There was no... So
of course, now you still have those who work outside. You understand? But
it's way less.
More and more, you have people working indoors, and everybody has air conditioning. Well, most people, most places have air conditioning. So the need isn't there as much. But I think it's going to take a lot for siesta to go away. It's very, very ingrained.
Yeah.
You can talk about siesta. I've experienced it personally and spoken to Spanish. And this thing about siesta, people meeting up with friends or family, and they have a few drinks and they have some food. Some go and sleep. Some have a bit of fun in bed, if I can say that.
This is an unfiltered podcast. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Whatever it is. This is what I remember when I first moved down here. That's what the Spanish do. They sit down, have a few drinks, something to drink. You might have a sleep, or you enjoy some other activities.
You never told me this.
I've experienced having workers at my house. They go away for siesta.
So you
and
say
the siesta can drag out a bit.
So sex at lunchtime is a good thing.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But, looking away from that, I had builders at my house. They turn up early. They had a mid-morning break, then midday siesta. They went away, and I observed it several times. They were down the pub, down the bar. You know,
Yeah.
they were eating, and by the time they got back, their productivity was just. I mean, it was not great.
But how would your productivity be after?
Well,
three
that's my
pints
point.
and-
That's why I never drink at lunchtime.
No.
Because I know if I drink even a canya,
Yeah.
my brain, my speed, my everything is going to slow down.
Yeah, you seem very.
If you have three
delusional
canyas,
now.
you know,
Yeah.
and fill your stomach,
Yeah,
it's going to affect how you work.
of course.
So I don't think siesta is going to go away anytime soon.
I agree. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Boom. Spaniards go out and party all the time.
No.
I don't think they do. I don't think we really need to discuss it. They don't go out all the time. They are way more chilled. They go out, they have a few beers. Yeah, they can stay out a little bit late and like they go out late for dinners and all these things. I don't think they party that much. They drink and eat and drink in a quiet, responsible way, but they don't go out partying that much.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, how often do you see really a drunk Spaniard around? You know, if you see somebody stumbling in the streets, it's either a Norwegian or a Brit or someone.
It's either you or me.
Yeah. No, I don't think they party.
No.
They live life.
Yeah.
You know, what we talked about before.
Yeah.
They, throughout the day, you know, a few drinks, some food, enjoy life, you know, but I wouldn't call it party.
No.
Sorry, Spaniards.
Let's just move on. Easy one. That was an easy one.
Yeah.
Spanish food is only like tapas and paella, and that's the only thing that Spanish people eat. True or false?
Oh, that must be false.
That's false.
Yeah.
I would say it's false as well.
Yeah.
Yes, they do like those things. They like these. They are very fond of seafood. They like these chiringuitos.
Yeah.
They eat a lot of like the octopus and all of these kind of things. They love fish. They love octopus. They love a lot of these things. But I think they also go to like international stuff and they eat normal European food. They don't only eat Spanish food.
No.
That's a
No,
myth. That's a myth.
Absolutely.
No.
People go out for a steak. They go out for
Yeah.
seafood, salads. It's a good mixture. But of course, it's tradition. Paella.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you
of
see
course, but it's not
good
like,
Spanish places. They have a good paella. You know, you always had Spanish people there. You know, I like a really good paella.
yeah, but it's
It just-
it's not everything that
No,
they do.
no,
They also
No,
eat,
for sure.
they
for
also
sure.
go eat and eat European food. They go to a Indian restaurant or they go to a Mexican restaurant or they go to an Italian restaurant and eat some pasta and some pizza and,
Yeah,
and a steak and-
absolutely. Yeah, mix.
So-
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say that's a myth.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easy one. Spaniards have a large temperament. They can get like angry and maybe not like angry, but they have a lot of emotions. They are very like
Yeah. Wear their hearts on the sleeve.
yeah, they wear their hearts on the sleeve. I think they are very emotional, and like temperament and emotion. I think it's a
I think that's just something that we all said. Mediterranean temperament.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit more fiery.
yeah. But you can also kind of integrate that into what we talked about earlier. They speak a lot. They speak very loud. They are very direct.
Yeah.
And also that brings it into temperament and like because
Yeah.
they don't
If
hold
I don't want to, I won't do it.
they don't hold back.
I'll stretch the rules.
Yeah.
We're going back to all that.
Yeah, so it's a full circle. In Norway, we are more reserved, we are more chill, but they're very passionate.
Yeah.
Maybe
Passionate.
passionate is the right
Yeah.
word. They care
I
a
think
lot.
so, because there's a difference between being passionate and loud and speaking direct and being aggressive and confrontative.
Yeah.
You know, it's different.
Yeah, that's not
You know?
not what I was trying to say, but they are like you said, they wear their heart on their sleeve. They are very passionate. They can be very emotional. And also, I can say one thing. This goes under the controversy thing. They are very easily offended. Actually, I see that on my YouTube channel as well. Like they can be offended now of this podcast. They can be offended what we are saying. They can be like, no, you are Norwegian or you're British. You're not allowed to have your opinion about our country, or you can say bad things about our country, and we can say the same things. But then we are allowed to say it because we are Spanish. But if you say the same things as us, you're not allowed to say it because you're an immigrant, you're a foreigner. You're not allowed to come here and express your opinion. They are very like sensitive and maybe like a little bit easily offended by these things.
Yeah, maybe.
If
You might be right. But if you then turn the table, Norwegians, if anyone says Norway is nothing but good, because of course Norway and Norwegians, we're world champions, we're best at everything.
Yeah.
You know, if you say, if somebody, a foreigner coming to Norway and say, well, Norway is not good at this, and Norwegians are assholes, you know, they're not social, you know, Norwegians also will be very offended. Oh, how can you come here and say...
But will we, though? I wouldn't.
Well,
I wouldn't. I would be like...
No, because you wouldn't express it. You would...
No, but I'm so logical. If let's say a Turkish person, immigrant living in Norway, would come to Norway and he would make a video and he would say like, Norwegians, they are very shy when they are sober and they are very loud and outgoing when they are drunk. I would say like, yeah, completely true. Or
yeah, but if that person said, you know, all Norwegians, when they go away, they're really obnoxious and they're drunk all the time and they're causing problems, and you know, Norwegians are always talking about themselves.
Yeah, but I can understand. Yeah, but I would be able to understand where it comes from, because I do agree with that. Norwegian people, when they are on holiday, like the Brits, when they are on holiday, they drink a lot of alcohol. Very often they misbehave. All these things. Of course, it depends on area, depends on if it's the summertime but we Norwegian people, they don't have a good reputation when it comes to holidays. Norwegian people living down here in Spain who live in this area, there's a lot of Norwegian people. We have a good reputation, but if you take the typical places that Norwegian travel midsummer for holiday, like if they go to Benidorm or they go to Mallorca or they go there and it's a 2-week holiday and they drink they have a terrible reputation.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like, no, you can't say anything bad about Norway.
Yeah,
I would say like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because I'm so logical, or like...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, you know, I'm not easily offended, but, you know, it's one of those things. If you're blamed for something that clearly isn't true,
Yeah.
If you get a reputation of something that just... you can't see that being true.
That's why
that's when you get a little bit...
But that's also why they say you should never generalize.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing.
Yes, we're trying to be sensible. We're trying to say Spanish traits are like that, but it doesn't cut everybody under the same...
Yeah, we're trying to find a balance, and we're just trying to be honest. And we do understand, before everyone is commenting this, we do understand, yes, we live on the coast. Yes, we understand that it's different in Madrid or Seville or
Andalusia. We have all these different...
Yeah. It's different when you are living in... even if you go to the north, it's completely different. We understand that...
And obviously...
we are affected by living on the south or on the coast.
And it's more a touristy area.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the... let's say the genuine Spanish way of life.
No.
You know, if you're in a area of Spain where they're only Spanish, probably things are very different. But
we see just a small side of it, and we are living in a very touristy area. And I do understand that someone watching this who is from the north of Spain or Bilbao or Madrid or anywhere else, they can... this is not true at all. I can understand their point of view because
it's
not the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Let's move on. Spanish people drink sangria all the time.
No.
They almost never drink sangria. A little bit in the summertime.
That's the foreigners that come
Yeah.
to Spain and they think,
Yeah.
in Spain, everybody drinks sangria. Because I'm in Spain, I have to order sangria.
That's probably the biggest lie of all
Yeah.
that we have.
Yeah, no.
They don't drink that at all. We can just move on. It's good to have something that's cold
Yeah.
in the summertime. Cold beer. I see even people drink even their red wine cold
Yeah.
or sangria.
Well, sangria, obviously, it's when it is cold, you know, you have those wine. It's a mixture of you have red wine, you have the fruits in there, and it's cold. You know, it's good. Yeah, Spanish drink it, but that they drink that all the time? No,
That's a bullshit.
It's become a touristy thing.
There's so many things that is just myths.
Yeah.
It's just something that we associate Spain with, but it's not true.
No.
Okay, let's move on. Bullfighting is very popular in Spain. And a lot of people think and associate their mind like Spain. They've seen like Pamplona, they've seen like bullfighting, and this is a very good thing, and it's acceptable, and like this is Spanish culture and history and all these things. But I tried to actually look up on the internet to see how many people, what's their kind of view on it. What I found that it was somewhere between 70 and 80% disagreed about bullfighting. When the younger generation, it was above 80% that disagreed with it, and a lot of people they me as well. I think it's my opinion. I don't care what people think. I will always express my opinion. I think it's a bad thing. I think it's animal cruelty. I think it's a bad thing. It's not fun to watch. It's just like we shouldn't do that. That's my opinion on that. And everyone, 80%, 70 to 80% will disagree.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, it's a deep tradition. So there's still resistance, you know, you're having those communities that, you know.
And the older
they
generation also.
Yes. So it's a deep tradition, but the world moves on. And I completely agree. You know, people will argue, well, these bulls live a fantastic life up to that point. And, well, that is not an argument. You know, it is bullfighting. At the end of the day, you know, it is 100% for sure before the bullfight, the bull will lose. It's not an equal fight, you know. It is animal cruelty.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, people may disagree, they can slate it, but at the end of the day, we've moved on. Animals, they should be respected.
And
it's not, you know, move away from it.
Yeah.
You know, traditions, yes, but there are, you know, you're going back in history, there are many funny traditions, you know, but as you get more enlightened and, you know, you have to move on.
Yes.
There is never going to be any way, shape or form that is a good thing with bullfighting. An animal has to pay with its life. And in the process, okay, you can say how long does the bull suffer? Well, it's suffering, and for whatever long it is, you know, if it's 10 seconds, that's too long.
Yeah.
You know?
We love animals, and this is not something.
I mean, whatever people will comment on that, you know, there probably will people who say, yes, have an argument to say it should continue, but that's
fine. That's fine. They are allowed to have their opinion. We are allowed to have ours. And they are allowed to have theirs. If there is people commenting that this is a good thing, you have to do that. Do it in a good way. Do it in a respectful way. Try to argument for what you think about it. But this is our opinion, and we stand by this, and we should be allowed to stand by it.
Very firm with that. You know, that's we're too advanced as a human race. You know, and we care for animals as well as other human beings. You know, is a living creature. That's, killing something for sport. That is never going to be a good thing.
And there's also some things in history we need to look back at some things in history and say that we got this wrong.
Yeah.
And we need to move on. We are in 2026.
Yeah.
And it's time to be more evolved. We're getting smarter. We're getting more educated. Let's move on from the bad things.
Yeah.
Next one. Everyone in Spain is very bad at English. I think you can start.
Everybody? No. For sure not. Sometimes I'm a bit surprised. The younger generation that are still have a very, very limited ability to speak, for example, English.
But is it because they don't want to, or is it because of the education, the schools are not good enough, or it's not prioritized enough, or because the kids today, they grow up with social media, they grow up with Instagram, and they grow up with TikTok, and they see they have to be influenced by English things all the time.
But this is what I don't quite understand. I remember going back a few decades, going on holiday to the Canaries, Gran Canaria.
Yeah.
And even a taxi driver going, around Puerto Rico and not speaking a word of English. This is a tourist destination, and this is what you live of, I find it a bit strange. And certainly the one thing is the older generation, but even the younger generation. Now, I've discovered many times, people give the impression they can't speak any English. But when you start to speak in a really bad Spanish and then you have a bit of time together, it turns out that they understand, and their ability to speak English is much better than they,
I think it's also part of culture. A lot of people, they speak a lot of English, but they are so proud, and they're so proud of their language that they're like, nope, we're not going to use it. We're not going to speak it. We're not.
It's also about confidence,
But we can see we can see the same with our Spanish. I can understand a lot of Spanish. I speak decent Spanish. You speak decent Spanish. It's not perfect, but it's pretty okay and good.
Yeah.
But you're a little bit afraid to use it because you're afraid to say something wrong.
Maybe I'm on a different dangerous area here, but I think the priority in Spanish schools. My daughters went to a public Spanish school because we wanted them to learn Spanish.
People in comments, if you have Spanish children going to Spanish schools, can you please explain to us how it is in Spanish schools? Because we are not 100% sure. So please leave a comment how it is and how much time Spanish people actually spend learning English. That would be very interesting and useful information. So thank you.
So here for us, living in this area, the Valencian community, we decided, okay, our kids, living in Spain, they need to learn Spanish. So we put it into Spanish public school. And then we discovered some way into the school year that it was close to 80% Valenciano.
Yeah.
So for us, we wanted to learn Spanish as well. And we had to learn, schoolwork, deberes, to help our kids with homework.
Yeah.
But with, it was enough for us to help them with Spanish, Castellano. But Valenciano, that is a different kettle of fish. You can't go into Google Translate, and get Valenciano.
Yeah.
So when Valenciano was prioritized over Castellano, we wanted to learn Spanish that could be used all over the world. Valenciano is here in this restricted area in Spain. English was pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
So Valenciano, that is used only in this region, took the priority over learning English, for example. That's why after a few years, we thought, this is this isn't the best way forward for us.
No.
For, we want our kids to speak Spanish, English, different languages.
Yeah.
But to spend that much time on a local, whether it's Catalan or Valenciano, it wasn't right for us.
But it will be very interesting what people actually say in the comments when it comes to this, because
I mean, it's been very controversial in this area. Many
Yeah.
people have,
yeah, I've seen that.
and yeah, it's many Spanish are pretty good at English. Sometimes surprising that the younger generation don't speak better English.
What has always surprised me when it comes to this topic is that I can understand, like, if you live in an area, let's say you live in a small Spanish village,
Yeah.
and you don't speak any English, I would say that's completely fine. You don't need it.
Yeah.
But if I was Spanish and I was living in along the coast where it's a lot of tourism, I would definitely prioritize learning English, because it would open so much more doors for me. I would make so much more money. I would have so many other job opportunities, and I would be better a taxi driver or a better waitress or a better bartender or a better cook or a better everything if I was able to speak. I could make twice as much money if I only spoke English.
Yeah.
So that would make, but again, my brain is very logical, and that's how I think about it. But that makes sense for me. But I can understand if you come from a small place when you don't need it. That's fine.
Absolutely. But exactly that, if you want success and open doors opening for you, instead of saying, well, we're in Spain, everybody that comes here should speak Spanish. If you are that narrow-minded, then, that doesn't work in any country.
No.
Wherever you go. So if you're looking after your own interests, exactly what you
Yeah.
say. Okay, you may say that people that come into Spain, they should make an effort to learn Spanish. Agree, completely. But for your own sake, if I can learn at least English, that makes you, it's likely that you're going to be much more successul.
Yeah. And attractive.
Here, I remember I said that to a builder that I used, Spanish, but his English was pretty good. And I remember I said to him, he was very popular. He had so much work.
Yeah.
Whether somebody Norwegian or English or Dutch or whatever nationality,
Because-
they could contact him and get a presupuesto, to get a job done. But if you can't communicate with somebody, then it's like, well, no, I'm going to find somebody else.
Because so much of if you look at all of the other European countries, yes, they have their own language, but for the common thing for all of these countries is that their second language is English, and their second language is very good.
Yeah,
So it's very easy for everyone to communicate in English in Europe.
yeah.
I understand it's different if you live in Chile or Argentina or Bolivia, or if you live in South America. It's different. But in Europe, everyone's second language is not Spanish, it's English.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as a first language, more people speak Spanish, a version of Spanish, Portuguese,
Yeah.
than English. But at the end of the day, English is the international common language. So,
But I see so many Spanish people, they are commenting that Spanish is one of the largest languages in the world and everyone should just speak Spanish. But it's not one of the largest languages in Europe.
no.
Yes, if you consider South America as well, yes, but not in Europe. In Europe,
No.
the biggest language is definitely English.
But anywhere you go, I mean, I can't talk from personal experience, but I think if you go to Asia, if you go to more, that part of the world, are the Asians more likely to speak English or Spanish? It's...
They would
Yeah, no, but, it is a world language,
that was this. I have to edit this out. They're
You
gonna
have to
kill
edit.
me for this. Super racist.
No, but, because people are influenced by English programs, you know, online films. So obviously, countries where they dub everything.
Spain has been doing that for so many years.
I mean, it's Spain. If you go to Germany, you know, you go there on holiday and go to a hotel. You know, you're watching Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, and he's speaking German. You know, it's.
I remember actually when I was a child, I was watching Friends, the TV show Friends, in Spain when I was on holiday on television in Spanish. It was super strange.
Yeah. No, I mean it's. I think generally Northern Europeans speak English better because, I mean, in Norway we know that every program is in its original sound. We have subtitles. The human brain is smart enough to. You read the subtitles, but the brain is picking up the sound and it's connecting the two.
Like, have you seen the TV show Casa de Papel?
No.
Oh, that's amazing! You have to watch that. It's probably one of the best series I've ever seen. And I was thinking in the beginning, it's Spanish. It's like, oh, it's hard to like maybe follow because it's Spanish. It's so good. It's amazing. It's one of the best TV shows that I've ever seen. Every episode is like, meanwhile, my girlfriend was watching it, and I was like, I just have to shake. We were watching this, and it was like every episode ends like with a super cliffhanger, and it's like, oh, we have to watch one more. We have to watch. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen, and it
was in Spanish with English subtitles.
Yeah, we were watching it with Norwegian subtitles, but with the Spanish language.
Yeah,
it's in Spanish, and it kind of blew up all over Europe and all over the world. It's super Casa de Papel. So it's a paper house in it's super.
I mean, it's an amazing way to learn. You know, I should do it more, watching Spanish programs. But if you have a Spanish,
this one you have to watch. It's like you will not be able to put it down.
Yeah. But if you watch a Spanish program with subtitles, I think the brain is learning pretty quickly. And we do sometimes, you know, watch English, American, whatever program and put Spanish subtitles on.
Yeah.
Which is also very useful.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes I'm really struggling. It's so fast to read the Spanish.
But you have to see this. I go the other way around. Go home to Zoe, say, we're going to put on Casa de Papel.
Casa de Papel.
Está perfecto.